ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम माला सुधा कुंभ विबोध मुद्रा विद्या विराजत करवारिजाताम् अपार कारुण्य सुधांबुराशिं श्री शारदाम्बां प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम् शंकारूपेण मच्चित्तं पंकीकृतमबूद्यया किंकरीयस्य सामाया शंकराचार्यमाश्रये प्रह्लादवरदो देवो यो नृसिंहः परो हरिः नृसिंहोपासकं नित्यं तं नृसिंहगुरुं भजे श्री सच्चिदानंद शिवाभिनव्य नृसिंहभारत्यभितान् यतीन्द्रान् विद्यानितीन् मन्त्रनितीन् सदात्मनिष्ठान् भजे मानव शम्भुरूपान् सदात्मध्याननिरतं विषयेभ्यः परान्मुखं नौमि शास्त्रेषु निष्णातं चन्द्रशेखरभारतीं विवेकिनं महाप्रज्ञं धैर्योदारक्षमानिधिं सदाभिनवपूर्वं तं विद्यातीर्थगुरुं भजे अज्ञानां जाह्नवीतीर्थं विद्यातीर्थं विवेकिनां सर्वेषां सुखतं तीर्थं भारतीतीर्थमाश्रये विद्याविनयसम्पन्नं वीतरागं विवेकिनं वन्दे वेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञं विदुशेखरभारती. Offer our humble pranams at the lotus feet of Jyeshta MahaSannidhanam Jagadguru Srimad Abhinava Vidyatirtha Mahaswamigal, MahaSannidhanam Jagadguru Shri Shri Bharati Tirtha Mahaswamigal, and Sannidhanam Jagadguru Shri Shri Vidushekara Bharati Swamigal. So blessed to offer this talk as a Guru Kanikai to our revered MahaSannidhanam on the eve of his 72nd Vardhanti Utsavam. This time, blessed to deliver a talk on the topic MahaSannidhanam, the ocean of compassion. Since all these talks are directed towards young minds, the young Sishyas, young parents and their children, out of curiosity, it prompted us to examine what does the term compassion literally mean in English before we go and offer our thoughts on the karunyam of MahaSannidhanam, Avyaja Karunamurti of MahaSannidhanam. Because it's young triggering minds, they would like to conceptually understand what does it mean in English. So when we journeyed into this research, came across several terms with which we are fairly acquainted with. Positive emotional thoughts and expressions such as, say, love, kindness, goodness, warmth, and the likes. It happens. All of us are very familiar with all these expressions. Affection. But we also undergo or see or witness or experience certain emotions which may not be so good and kind to us. And we just arranged it in a sequence. Let's start with, say, pity. Pity is an emotional expression where the mind is concerned about some suffering somewhere, but does not engage itself beyond that. It's just an expression of concern over sufferings, either as an individual or as a collective entity. From there, if the mind moves forward to understand emotionally the suffering, it may lead us into the path of sympathy. When we start to undergo the same emotions which people actually suffer at their end, then sympathy transforms into empathy. And when we attempt to move in the direction of trying to partake in that, resolve it to the extent possible with best of our efforts, then that state of mind is something which we call it as compassion in an English pure literary sense. Absorbing the emotions, pity, feeling the emotions, sympathy, undergoing the emotions, empathy, participating in the emotions and trying to relieve the suffering becomes compassion. Compassion should not be confused with mercy, because mercy is an act of forgiving somebody who is otherwise a wrongdoer. Mercy is associated with wrongs and the mind to condone or pardon those wrongs or forgive those wrongs and the wrongdoer. So it essentially emanates out of a state of mind where somebody has to a greater extent conquered anger and conquered resentment. One who conquers anger and resentment to a great extent will be very merciful. So, mercy comes out of the ability to forgive, whereas compassion becomes a virtue. It's a value. It is something which is preserved as and practiced as a virtue by a human being. Without compassion, human race and civilization and the society will simply collapse. So these are the thoughts fed to us from time to time by various speakers and writers. But we must understand one singular difference in while capturing these meanings and perspectives. These are all taught to us, shared to us, and discussed by people who swing between love and hate. The emotional experiences between love and hate reflects in various of these natures and forms and perspectives. And compassion is one amongst them. But what we are going to talk or discuss today is not a compassion of that nature. A compassion which springs out of Shanti. A compassion which springs out of peace. A compassion which springs out of bliss. A compassion which has the quality and the ability to penetrate and heal someone. It is this divine virtue which we call it as one who possesses this divine virtue. We call such a person as Avyaja Karunamurti, or ocean of compassion. We should not confuse this with the regular understanding of compassion, of how world teaches compassion. This compassion springs out of unlimited bliss, unstoppable bliss, and the Avichinna Guru Parampara of Shringeri, right from the first day when a Bhagavad Shankara has installed this Peetham 1250 years ago, has blessed this Guru Parampara with this virtue. The two qualifications imposed by Bhagavad Shankara to every Peethadipati of this sacred transcendental throne of wisdom are unparalleled knowledge in Shastras, an undiminishing quantity of blissful dispensation of compassion. Every Peethadipati is blessed with these two virtues. And let's now see the few experiences of Sishyas who have received this bountiful, boundless compassion, blissful compassion of MahaSannidhanam. We were blessed with the opportunity to write more than 100 episodes on the various acharyas of this Peetham in 2017. So had the opportunity to interact with several Sishyas. Every episode which has been recorded, after writing the draft, would be sent to that Sishya. He or she would examine it, approve it, and only upon validation they were released. But we, in the present day, where confidentiality, secrecy, all very relevant, we had maintained confidentiality in terms of names, in terms of places. And other than that, whatever has been narrated is the complete truth, which we have also said so at the time of writing. So let's see few of those experiences today on the eve of the Vardhanti-dinam of our revered Mahaprabhu MahaSannidhanam. A middle-aged lady who is a vice president of a company goes to Egypt for an important conference, attends it for a few days, and from there she had to move on to the next meet, which is 400 kilometers away from the existing spot. And she had to proceeding to that destination post 6 p.m. in the evening. And the entire 400 kilometers stretch is either desert or crossing parallelly the shores, sea banks. And imagine somebody from India stepping into Egypt, traveling alone in a car for 4-5 hours in the evening post 6 o'clock. How would she feel? Besides the India number, she also had an Egypt number. She started around 6:10 or 6:15 in the evening. And as she started to drive a few kilometers, she received a call in her Egypt number, which is not known to many. And the caller identified herself as Gayatri and said, "I understand you are proceeding to this meet. I am waiting at this bus station. I am also proceeding to the same meet. Can you pick me up?" was the request. There was such a sigh of relief to this devotee because she now need not travel alone. And she has a companion who is again Gayatri from India. And she immediately promised to reach out to that place quickly. And she did reach there, and Gayatri was waiting for this person. And she got into the car. The first quick question: how did she get this number? The reply is, "All right, tell me who knows your numbers." And the passenger replies, I've given it only to a few handful of people. Yeah, yeah. One of them gave me this number. That was the reply. And for 4 hours, and she said that she's doing some research in Egypt. She's a student spending, who has already spent a couple of years here. And therefore, she was fairly familiar with the local language and could converse with the driver fluently. And after 4.5 hours, reached the destination. And both parted ways with a promise that they will eventually meet in that gathering the next day. And this is what the Sishya has to say. I never saw Gayatri thereafter. What does the devotee do? Whenever she gets the time, she will meditate on the sloka Shri Guru Pahima. This is divine compassion. When you are going alone in a new country with an unknown driver, you are assured of a divine assistance. Uncalled, unsolicited, not prayed. This is the power of divine compassion. A young girl just finished her graduation in engineering. Very promising, a very dynamic and smart girl. And the family was looking for an alliance. And she threw a shock and expressed her inclination to marry somebody. And what happened, the problem was, in both the families, the boy's family and the girl's family, there was an issue of traditions. So both did not want this to happen, in spite of the liking of the boy and the girl. So the issue, the conflict was between the children and the families, both the families. So how do you resolve it? The parents of the girl requested, can we go to Shringeri? Can we offer our prayers to Acharya and take the guidance of MahaSannidhanam? The girl said yes for that. She said, whatever MahaSannidhanam guides, I will follow. Let's be very sure about that. So that on that assurance, the family reaches Shringeri, wait in the queue, and MahaSannidhanam spots the family are very pensive. And when the parents decided to initiate the dialogue, MahaSannidhanam said, stop. Let the child speak. So, he did not address the issue with the parents, first step. He looked at the face of the girl and said, tell me whatever you want to tell to me. I am your guru. I am here to guide you. The girl picks up confidence. She opened just a sentence or two and wanted to narrate what she is undergoing. See the compassion of MahaSannidhanam. He says, leave everything out, Ma. I know what you are undergoing. You are in a fix and you are in a state of guilt. Having promised a boy to marry, how do I go back in case I guide you to do it the other way? There is no other issue. The girl weeps profusely because she has nothing else in this guidance to hide. MahaSannidhanam comes straight to the point. And see the compassion there. He says, I am going to give you a guidance which will help not only you, but also that boy who is unknown to MahaSannidhanam. The girl stands up and stares. May I know what that guidance is? MahaSannidhanam speaks about our dharma to the child and says, look here, why do people want to get married? Progressing with the marital institution and the family institution is one dharma. But more importantly, that you should live happily. I'm telling you and the boy, because you trust me and have come to seek my guidance, both of you are not going to be happy out of this marital life. Because the purpose of marriage is for happiness. Both of you are not going to be happy if you're going to get married. Instead, I bless both of you. Go and tell the boy, remove your guilt. Go and tell the boy, my Guru has conveyed his guidance and Ashirvadams also to him. May he get married as per the wishes of his parents. And may you get married as per the wishes of your parents. And both of you will lead a very happy life. Because marriage should produce happiness. The girl who narrated this incidents, I met that family after a couple of years after, because they were carrying a child at the time, at the Guru Bhavanam, as they narrated this incident to me from Bangalore. And said, 3 things happened there. The child spoke this to me. 1, the issue was not addressed with the parents. 2, I was trembling with fear because I'm standing before our Kulaguru. What is he going to say to me? Not a word of admonition. He didn't scold me. He didn't act sternly against me. He was conversing with me when I'm expressing my difficulty and guilt. He was conversing with me. He was connecting with me. And finally resolved it, saying, if both of you want to be happy, then this is not going to work and therefore don't do it. And convey to that boy, my Ashirvadams is also for that boy, for him to lead a happy life. The girl concluded saying, I could not have got something better in my life. When I said, I will obey your divine command, comes out that blissful compassion one more time. It surfaces so spontaneously. Look here, my young child. You will get married as per your wish because your parents will get you married only as per your wish. And extracts that promise from the parents. See the whole sequence. Parents excluded. The MahaSannidhanam does not act sternly. He converses and finally says, I bless both of you for a great life. And indeed, the child is living a great life today. MahaSannidhanam is holding the child in his heart for the sheer act of obedience to the guidance blessed by MahaSannidhanam. She listened to it 100%. No regrets. Not an iota of regret after that. This is divine compassion. Let's take the third instance. An outstanding bright student in school, in college, qualifies IIT decades ago, flies to US. Single child, boy, parents are at Madurai. And they are aging. Boy was born after a long time. So, at the behest of MahaSannidhanam, the child returns, takes up a job here. But he never had an aspiration to marry. Because he made it very clear to himself. I've come here to serve my parents because I'm a single child. I have to take care of them. And once that is over, let me get into social service and serve society. That should be the mission in my life. But the parents had a different view. They are aged and they wanted the child to get married. So when they came to Shringeri, they expressed a lot of fear, anxiety, coupled with age-related issues. We are clueless. He has come here based on your mandate and guidance, but he looks to be having a different view. They took the consent of the son to say that this is what we are going to express to MahaSannidhanam during this visit. The son said, no problem. Please to express, because he was very sure that MahaSannidhanam will guide the parents, leave him. Let him do what he wants to do. Don't disturb him. After all, he has come and he is with you. Feel happy. This is the assumption in which he said. Because the gentleman who is now about 49, 50 years old now, 4 years back he was 45, he expressed this to me and said that this is what I expected. But MahaSannidhanam said, let him come here to me. I will talk to him. Because it's a divine mandate of MahaSannidhanam, the boy reached Shringeri. And he prepared a big sequence why he doesn't want to get married. What is his passion in life? After all, he has obeyed the commands and come here, and his parents are with him, and I will serve the parents till their last. That's a commitment. But I must be allowed to live on my own. I want to serve society thereafter. So my mission should not be the regular domestic cycle of life. So he prepared all that sequence. Stands up before MahaSannidhanam. And MahaSannidhanam puts a question. What do you want to do? Do you want to marry? Look at the answer. The boy replies, yes, Guru, I want to marry. ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம். நன்ன ஆசீர்வாதம் பண்றேன், அது நடக்கட்டும். Go and marry. The boy sits in the Chandramoulishwara Puja and his mind is so rattled. What is this that is happening to me? I have come here with a firm mind to express what my desire is. How did this happen exactly to the opposite? So he decided to go to the next day morning darshanam and clarify it with MahaSannidhanam. So he goes to MahaSannidhanam and says, I came here with this purpose and have prepared a complete sequence as to what I should talk to you. So when this is the state of mind, of course I did say yes yesterday, but it's my duty to convey to my Guru what I am undergoing. If my mind is not associated with that institution, I will not be able to do justice to the person whom I marry. So what do? Stop him in the middle. I have blessed you to get to marry. You won't get married. The boy was not very sure. He still got married. The first thing he did was to bring his wife. And MahaSannidhanam blessed both of them. And they say they have 2 children and they lead a wonderful life. The earlier case was a case of a compassion towards a young girl to marry. Here is a case, the compassion is reflected on the parents. They are clueless. They are simple because they have all the time to think. They do not think anything other than this. Now come to a case of a mother who has an autistic child and living in the US. Because he is an autistic child, he was super active. Super active, all of us know what it is. So they live in an individual house in, say, California, and they will always latch both the front and the back doors. One day, sheer mistake, they failed to latch the back door. And this boy had the habit of riding the bicycle very fast even within the house or outside the house whenever we had the guardian or the parents to watch or monitor. The back door is not latched. The mother and the first son are there in the house. After a while, the mother felt that I'm not able to see my second son for a while. And she goes and sees the back door is wide open and the cycle is not there. The boy has fled, driving the cycle mindlessly. And once you open the back door, you will reach the main road very easily. The lady expressed her state of mind. She was crying and remaining absolutely helpless. What can she do now? Where will she go? She called 911 and just informed. And she told me, I didn't do anything else. Went into the puja room, lit the lamp, and just wept before MahaSannidhanam and asked only two things. Is my son still alive? And can you please retrieve him back and give it to me? I didn't pray anything else. 20 minutes later, her neighbor calls her on her mobile. Yeah, I'm finding your son here near the signal. I've spotted him. Where are you? The lady's joy knew no bounds. She hit the rooftop. Please hold on, I'll come there. Meanwhile, police, because she rang 911, they also reached the spot, retrieved the child and handed it over to the mother. That 25-30 minutes, the lady says, nobody should reach this state of utter helplessness. And when she came to India, MahaSannidhanam was camping with Sannidhanam at Bangalore. Understand, a short visit, huge crowd. Patiently listened to this lady. She cried and said, I need to say this to you. Give me the time. I've come all the way only to say this to you. Motion of compassion to your mother. Hundreds of human lives saved. This is the incident. Somebody who was a staunch devotee of the mud for generations was leading a set of factories near Peram in Chennai. His routine is to reach the office at 7 in the morning, offer prayers to Jeshta MahaSannidhanam and MahaSannidhanam for 20 minutes. And he was virtually monitoring some 12-13 factories here and there. Go for a factory visit every day in the morning. And once the siren blows at 11:30 for lunch, he will come back to his cabin and have his food. On a particular day, for inexplicable, unexplainable reasons, everyone heard the siren blowing at 11:20 a.m. instead of 11:30. So all the workers left the factory shed. And this gentleman walked back to his cabin. At 11:30, there was a cylinder blast and one of the factory sheds completely burnt. Not a life was lost. Till date, it remains a puzzle. How did this happen? Why should this siren, it's supposed to go on at 11:30, how did it go at 11:20? Except for the devotee, nobody knew the answer even today. Devotee, mentally holding the feet of Jeshta MahaSannidhanam and MahaSannidhanam, cried Had they been there inside at 11:30, it would have been one of the greatest factory tragedy in the history of Indian industry, which was completely averted. See, what is divine compassion? At this stage, we should also understand as we progress with more and more of illustration. Divine compassion is when a Shishya is in an utter state of helplessness, when a Shishya just cannot do anything else, when divine gaze penetrates that Shishya and delivers something which is in a human mind impossible. Everything is only Anugraham. There is no difference. Anugraham is the dispensation of that particular act. Divine compassion is the state from which this Anugraham happens repeatedly every time. Pure Karunai. Take all the four instances. Take the case of the girl. Take the case of the parents. Take the case of this gentleman handling hundreds of people. And take the case of that vice president traveling in Egypt. All alone, a lady, at 6:30 in the PM to reach at 11 o'clock. Helpless situations. You need to be guarded. You need to be protected. And you can't do it on your own. This is divine compassion. Anugraham, reaching a particular Shishya or a particular place or a particular sets of human beings. Unparalleled, impossible. Otherwise, is divine compassion. You cannot read this in textbooks. You cannot read this meaning in textbooks. You cannot understand it from textbooks. You have to undergo through this experience to realize what divine compassion is. It is a practical discourse of experience, which each one of us has to undergo in life to know what it is. Let's see a few more in the time given to us. Compassion before death. Have you heard of it? Let's discuss 3 instances of that. A lady, all throughout his life he has lived in a village, never traveled out much, and was an outstanding singer. She could have matched many leading musicians with her voice and her capability and her talent and interest. But she remained in the village and therefore could sing only to her heart's content. She was slowly sinking. She was unwell and slowly sinking. At that time, MahaSannidhanam and Sannidhanam were conducting a camp in Tamil Nadu, and they also visited this village and stayed for 2 days. So, first night Chandramoulishwara Puja, it was a Vedic chanting. Second day Chandramoulishwara Puja, the lady was sick. Somehow on a wheelchair, reached the darshanam, the puja, and was waiting to sing. It did not materialize. So disappointed, she returns home, spends a sleepless night, and next day evening, Acharyas would leave that village and go to the next place. So she said, the only chance I had, I have lost. That was her one last wish. I should sing once before Acharya. And indeed she died after a few days, a few months. So this was her last wish. Now see the compassion. Her daughter goes for the darshan the next day. taking her mother in the wheelchair, and because she carried her mother in a wheelchair, she remained at a distance. MahaSannidhanam spots her, calls her, and says, commanded, may your mother also come here. It's a 2-day camp, second day afternoon, that evening, Acharyas have to leave and it's crowded. MahaSannidhanam says to her, I thought you sing yesterday night. I do not know why you didn't. You sing today. No. The lady was stunned. She says, Darshanam is happening. Everybody has come. That will happen. She asked her daughter, arrange a mic. She's in a wheelchair. Does not matter. And the lady sung to her heart's content before MahaSannidhanam and died thereafter. Yet another Shishya from the village, whenever she goes to Sringeri, she will sing a particular song. Both Jyeshta MahaSannidhanam and subsequently Sannidhanam would welcome her and bless her to sing that song. Not because they like it, but because the Shishya likes it. That's the connect. So this happened, say, in October 1995. I think that's what I've documented it in that episode. She goes with her son-in-law and a few people from Bangalore and stays for 2 nights. During Chaturmasya, all of us know the second half will always be for Vedic rendition, and therefore on both days she couldn't sing. Prior to the puja, prior to the abhishekam, somebody else sang and she kept quiet. MahaSannidhanam also did not ask her to sing. So second day puja is over. About to do Deeparatana. At that time, MahaSannidhanam, this 95 puja was at the Satyananda Vilas, not in the new Guru Bhavan. Few people. MahaSannidhanam blessed this lady who sang that song. When they were about to do Harati, and the lady gladly sings. And that was her last visit to Sringeri. March 1996, she expires. The third, this happened to my professional guru, late Senior Rajan, senior advocate. He had not come to Sringeri even once. The only once he has visited or seen, had the darshan of Acharya is on June 2nd, 2012 at Melmangalam, when we opened the new Veda Pathshala. Acharya was kind enough to come and bless it. The Pathshala was running from 2007, but we built a building, and Acharya was very happy to come and bless us. So senior was there. Please mark the date, 2nd June 2012. He fell sick around February 2019. And the health started to deteriorate very fast. He was about 82, 83 years by then. So, when me and my wife were in Sringeri in March, I prayed to Acharya that this is his condition. He is my professional guru. Every morsel of food I eat is blessed by you and taught by him. I pray for his welfare. MahaSannidhanam closed his eyes for a second and said, the desire of Ishvara is otherwise, and we should allow only that to work. I just kept quiet because our Acharyas have always taught us one lesson. when people are very aged, sufficiently aged and suffering and ailing, we should only pray, please do what is good to that Jiva. We should not be praying for their attention. That's something which Acharyas have taught us. So I didn't have the courage to pray one more time. I just kept quiet. Acharya gave both Mantrakshati and Kumkuma Prasadam and said, keep it with you, this is for your senior. For a minute, I was hesitant, human mind. Acharya says he is not going to survive long, but he is giving a prasadam. What am I actually supposed to do? This was what was running in my mind. I didn't say anything. Acharya replied, you don't worry about this prasadam. Let it remain with you. It will reach him at the appropriate time. You don't have to apply your mind. Fine. Got it. Came back to Chennai. On May 31st, his first son calls us, a few of us, and said, father's condition is quite serious. I would request you to come and visit if you want to see him. This happens on 31st May. And when we saw him through in the ICU condition, it was very, very precarious. I was supposed to fly on first morning to Bombay for a very important meeting. It's a Saturday, Sunday. We fixed 2 long meetings back to back on Saturday and Sunday. And I was supposed to return on late Sunday night. When we were in Sringeri, when Acharya conveyed that this is Ishvara Kripai, this is likely to happen, I made only one request to him. Now that you say that he may not live long, I travel for 25 days in a month. I must be by the side of my senior for his last journey. Acharya said, that is something I can bless you. You will be by his side. You don't worry. So on 31st, this is his condition. On 1st, I need to leave. I ring up and made a request for an accommodation explaining the condition of my senior. They were obliging. Just did not know why it happened. On first afternoon, I called up my senior son, and said, may I come one more time? And I have a request to make. He said, please come. So evening visitation hours. Just before I leave, don't know what prompted me. Took the Kumkumam and Mantrakshari. And because he was in ICU, we couldn't enter it. We could only view him from a distance. I made a request to my senior son. This is a prasadam given by Acharya. And he said, this will reach on his own. This was with me for the past 3 months. I do not know what prompted me. I have now brought it. Will it be possible for you to apply it on him? Because it is intended for him. He said, certainly we will do it. There is one particular time which they allow me to go inside for 15 minutes. I will apply both on him. I will apply the kumkumam on his forehead and Akshade requested, put the Akshade all over his body. In all the places. He said, I had to leave because the time was different. He said, I will do it and I'll call you. He called me back the night and said, the instructions have been carried out, I have done it. This happened on 1st June night. 2nd June early morning at 5:10, the soul departs. Peacefully. Peacefully. A person who lived a life of a karma yogi in his profession, who has not visited Sringeri and has seen Acharya only once. Please mark the date. 2nd June 2012, he had the darshan. 2nd June 2019, he departs. So, compassion is not only when you are alive. Divine compassion reaches you even before your death. It can reach you even at the time of your death. It can reach any time. These are completely inexplicable. So we saw compassion in one section for various people in their lifetime, and compassion for a set of devotees, set of sishyas, set of blessed souls just before their departure. There is also divine compassion which flows flawlessly, blissfully in emancipating noble souls. In the multifaceted Jivan Mukta, two instances are documented. Every Acharya of this Peetham sits there only to do this for their Shishyas. And both these instances are about spiritual emancipation, which happens out of divine compassion and nothing else. In one of the cases, a guru is in deep meditation in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Two Sishyas reach the lotus feet of the Guru, and when the Guru sees them, he finds them to be worthy Sishyas. And when they prayed that they have come to serve, to seek spiritual emancipation, he indebted both of them, trained them differently. Though both were initiated in mantra japam, both were taught regular lessons. One was allowed to get into deep meditation, and he could expertise himself, adapt himself so quickly to that. The other was serving the Guru. When it came to knowledge, both were taught. One was able to pick it up so easily and comfortably, the other was slow. So after a while, the Guru called both of them. The period has come for you to be on your own. What needs to be taught has been taught. What needs to be guided has been guided. And whatever service you need to do to your Guru to attain this knowledge has been done by you. I am very fulfilled. Therefore, you should now leave. When both the children, Sishyas, prostrate before the Guru, he shows the Abhaya Hasta for the first Shishya who is so well adapted in meditation. He calls the second Shishya, places his hand on his head and says, "May you emancipate instantaneously," and he attains jnana. The first Shishya, it's human nature, got put up. So he was gathering himself emotionally and wanted to address his Guru, before which the Guru speaks to him. "What do you think of me?" The Sishya replies, "I consider you as an emancipated soul, one capable of emancipating me. Do you think I'm a trader?" The Sishya says, "No, you are not a trader. If you consider me as not a trader, how did it occur to you in your mind to ask that you have dispensed something to him which you have not dispensed to me? Why did this thought occur in you?" He said, "Even though I did not consider you as a trader, but I was feeling within myself, you have found me worthy and competent during the tutelage. But when it came to the final dispensation, he got something else which I am not envious. But at the same time, I felt, am I not worthy for the same? Am I wrong in my understanding?" So the Guru calls the other Sishya and says, "Suppose I have not touched your head and blessed you for emancipation, what would you have done to me?" The Sishya replies, "I don't have anything to think or ask from you. Whatever flows from you is Guru's case. Even if you curse me, it is Guru's grace. I have not applied my mind, nor would I have applied my mind. If you have given me this, I have taken it If you have not given me this, I would have taken that also in the same stride. So the Guru turns to the first Shishya, see the difference. You feel you can meditate well, you feel you are knowledgeable, so you feel, and that is arising out of your ego. Whereas he has surrendered to me. He says, whatever you give, you bless me, I will take it. You curse me, I will take it. Because I am helpless, I am simply dependent on you. It is this state of mind which made me to bless him with emancipation. It is this lack of state of mind which prevented me from emancipating. But a Guru is a compassionate Guru. He says, all this Leela, I played it before you. Only because you are also capable of giving up your ego. Give it up now. May this blessing also reach you. The second story is the story of Devadatta. When 6 students gather under the same teacher, one is spotted so bright and the rest were average. The bright student received constant reprimands, constant admonitions, constant stern scoldings from the Guru. Every time he will try to make it up better and better. He didn't take it up in the offensive. He started to work more. But when somebody performs average, the Guru would say, fine, it's all right. If you want any help, tell me, I'll try to help you. But when this man commits one single mistake, he's finished. One day, a Pandita came to see this Guru, and both were conversing for a while. And the Guru introduced this Shishya and says, he has asked a question, give the answer to him. So the Shishya was trying to provide some answers to him, and in the process he flawed. The Guru went on with his admonitions in the presence of the Pandita. The boy couldn't take it and came back. After a while, the Pandita comes with one more person, and they were engaging in a long conversation, and the Guru invites the Shishya and says, now you also meet the new challenges. This time he meets it clearly. And both of them go back, and the disguised man in the earlier occasion comes back now as the king of the kingdom with paraphernalia and prays before this Shishya, the Pandita who came earlier has now retired. I came here to the Guru to give one of his Sishyas to be the advisor to this kingdom, and he has chosen you he has chosen you to be my advisor. I have come with my paraphernalia to welcome you back, to invite you to my kingdom. The Guru looks at the Shishya. Do you now realize why I dealt you differently from the rest? The rest got away because they can only reach that level. Whereas you could get something more out of me, and I wanted you to get that something more out of me. And this is what I finally bless you with. So, divine compassion can be in the form of admonition. It can be in the form of anger, divine anger. It can be in any form. Any form, every form is only a blessing. Because it will transform a Shishya. Only the Guru, see, you can't read compassion in an English textbook with this understanding. This is experience. This is change. This is transformation we are talking about. And to complete this talk, what is ocean of compassion by MahaSannidhanam? Every Peethadipati of this mutt. These are the final lines I want to say and conclude. The fact that he has now given us a Sannidhanam to guide us comes out of ocean of compassion. What else? Imagine if we are not guided to a Sannidhanam, what will happen to the future generation? Won't we be spiritual orphans at some point of time in life? It's the inevitable truth. We have to face it. Won't we be spiritual orphans? This is the Karunai Mata Sharada shows to us. This is the Karunai MahaSannidhanam has blessed us. And Sishya after Sishya knows for true, for certain, the Anugraha Shakti, Anugraha Balam of MahaSannidhanam is not different from Sannidhanam, because Sannidhanam is not different from MahaSannidhanam. It flows. The grace, divine grace of MahaSannidhanam flows through Sannidhanam. Giving us a Jagat Guru for the future. It emanates out of Avyaja Karuna Murti Karunai, ocean of compassion. I want all the young children of this mutt, the Sishyas, the young parents, youngsters, to realize the power of divine grace and divine compassion of this Peter. May you all be benefited. May you all be endowed with the best of grace, best of experiences, and may joy and happiness ever be filled in our lives. Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru. For this talk, the lotus feet of Jyeshta MahaSannidhanam Jagadguru Srimad Abhinava Vidyarthi Mahaswami, MahaSannidhanam Jagadguru Shri Bharati Tirtha Mahaswami, and Sannidhanam Jagadguru Shri Bharati Vidashekara Bharati Swami. Pranams.